Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Let's just give it a moment for the presentation to come up, but thanks for having me. I will talk a little bit about fiber to the everything today. Mohammed, thank you for inviting me. To be honest, this has been a while since I've been publicly speaking, so apologies up front if it doesn't go according to plan, right? So those are the apologies. Thanks, Mohammed, thanks for having me, for the sponsoring, for the invitation. Thanks to Accenture as well to having us here today. Let's just dive right into it. We have about 20 minutes, and let's reserve as much space for open discussion and questions. So let's just go a little bit through it. The agenda of today is really, I wanted to bring also Baobab a little bit closer to it. So my name is Philip Zindler. I'm the CEO for Baobab South Africa, or the Managing Director. And if we go to the next slide, can I use this? Yes. There we go. Just to bring you Baobab a little bit closer, just not too many slides, no self-marketing, too much of it. And then going into working with governments and what that means, the threat of overbuild, which is real, I think, and then also building, what does it mean, building and resourcing with the future demand in mind. So just a little bit about us, vision, mission, and our core belief. I really do believe from a vision perspective, although it doesn't say vision anymore, maybe AI did something to it, but we want to change lives. And I really believe in that because there is connectivity, and there has been connectivity on the continent and on the planet for a long while, but I don't think we effectively use that yet, and we're really connecting all the people that deserve it. So therefore, bridging the digital divide and connecting communities is really part of our core mission, vision. Similar in the mission statement of connecting Africa with digital platforms, right? Digital solutions, not just the fiber pair laying there, but how do we even as a sector work together more efficiently, share resources more effectively? That's really something that drives us. And then it really obviously comes to the core belief of where we're saying everyone deserves the benefits of a modern connected life. So just to give a last bit of the overview, who are we, what assets are under our management, is we really in a lot of African markets. Our Baobab group, which is centered in Dubai, already controls a lot of the subsea cables and elements to connect Africa, so connect the world to Africa and vice versa. And as you see here, the vision is also by 2025, so not too far from today, we will manage 135,000 kilometers of fiber across the continent. The first question that was asked, what does it mean working with governments? I think specifically here in South Africa, we know what's currently going on in terms of tribunals, and there's a lot of activity at the moment, obviously. But I think obviously we as a regulated environment need to work with governments and with regulators to make the right steps. To be honest, while I'm generally not a biggest fan of over-regulation, but by the market really regulating itself, we are still in an age where I believe we as operators need to be regulated a little bit. And the need stems from how we behave on a day-to-day basis. I think we still need in parts to be regulated, to work closer together, to use the resources that we are putting into the ground that cost money. The capex spend is obviously limited, with increasing cost of capital also coming along over the last couple of months or years, that we are seeing. We need to use our investments more effectively and share resources more efficiently. So therefore, we need to work with the governing bodies together. I think another case is also that we need to look at investments that have been done by governments and working in PPPs together. So we as Baobab doing something in the Central African Republic, definitely an interesting place to operate, but we need to look more for those, right? These partnerships where governments have done investments and maybe operating that again more effectively together with them in a PPP is definitely something we are looking at. Then it was a bit the question of, or I made it out of the question, open access for me is really the answer possibility of creating market synergies, right? So the question was a bit, what is the threat of overbuilding? Is it real in Africa? Is it real in South Africa? Is it real in the world? And yes, absolutely it is. I've just came off a call last week with some of my colleagues in Germany of Deutsche Telekom, and the behavior in Central Europe over the last couple of years is unbelievable. The money that was sunk in building trenches and putting fiber into the ground without realizing the benefits of actually connecting people, connecting homes, is ridiculous. We're talking about billions of US dollars. And I think there is a lessons learned for sure in that as well. But before that, let's come a bit closer to home. There were obviously reports, and you see that in the bubble here on the right side at the top, that Tech Central in February already reported about a 25% overbuild in metro areas in South Africa, right? So that is real. I think also from abroad, my Broadband reported that the growth is actually in the FTTB segment. And again, we can all believe that the businesses are more in the metro than in the rural areas, which speaks to potentially more overbuild again, right? So therefore, what's a little bit the solution approach that we are thinking about, and not that we have the golden whistle to make it all happen overnight, but we really believe in open access. So whereas a lot of our competitors in the market have been carved out of the business and then still are playing part of the NLD component, a metro network, but then also being an ISP. That makes it difficult to be interested in sharing the benefit of connectivity with everybody. And I think we as Baobab want to at least take a little different stance to that in the coming years. Of when we build, we want to invite everybody to come on board. May it be a co-build, may it be really the cost effectivity share in terms of taking fiber pairs or whatsoever. But I really believe that only in this way we can succeed of making the investments more effective and therefore connecting more and more people in the country. So that's number one, and we have seen that open access model works on the NLD already. There's hardly any national long distance routes which are not built as part of a consortium, whereas in the metros, everybody does their own still today, right? So that speaks then a little bit about InfraCo versus ServiceCo. So we want to be the InfraCo, the player that everybody can work with to get the needs settled that you have, but then become a ServiceCo, going to the end customer, which we are not going to approach on top of that. Integrated platform planning. Everybody here that works in a big corporate, and that's most of us, is relatively clear what annual planning and budgeting means and the cycles behind it. There's no integrated approach that I'm aware that I have seen in Africa, in South Africa, to actually do CapEx planning for networks. So every corporate does it themselves every year for the next 3 years. And it's a lengthy 3-month process to get there, and then some up and down discussions in terms of the budgets available. But there isn't anybody that is doing that for a massive infrastructure element like fiber and asking everybody. And this is my invite today to everybody in the room, and even if that's word of mouth going forward, that I want to invite everybody to share their plans of rollout requirements, network requirements with us as a company, and that we'll make sure that we only invest once and give everybody the benefits. Last but not least, that speaks also to the strategic partnerships that need to be established for that, especially today, and really create a new norm of operating with each other, right? So strategic partnerships, we see a consolidation in the South African market happening as we speak. I'm also a believer that we cannot afford more than 2, 3, maybe 4 real infrastructure players on this landscape. And therefore, at the moment, we need to look at the right partnerships. When we look outside of South Africa, we have built good partnerships with Africa 50, for example, for our east to west corridor that we're planning, etc. But it's definitely that we need to do more still here in South Africa as well. Future in demand. So happy that I think it was Risham said AI for everyone, and my first point here. I'm also a firm believer that, besides all the buzzwords of, the metaverse, gaming, smart cities, smart operations, medtech in Africa, obviously interesting, but I think artificial intelligence and the requirements on networks and what it will mean for data capacity growth in the near future, I don't think we have thought that through as a business. So for me, it will be an exponential growth factor in the coming years. I think beyond 2030, we will see, massive exponential growth coming from that. And I really compare to, I see here the last example, when even home robots are used, right? How many people here in the room have a home robot today that maybe cooks for you or does other things? Not anybody. I think maybe it's a Hoover, right, that I have as well. But it's very limited today. I think beyond 2030, I'm a believer in that. I think this will pick up drastically. The price points will come down, and we will just adopt it over time. Same as the electric car is a non-avoidable anymore, right? The Western world is predicting to us what we in Africa will see in a couple of years' time, right? So this is a similar element where we as network operators haven't seen this through yet entirely, but I believe that all these elements, and let me not go into too much detail, no matter if it's medtech, AI for sure, the metaverse, gaming, there's so many examples where I believe this is the requirement, so capacity will grow, but it also means that we, as an infrastructure player, need to think smarter of how we deploy networks, not just from a partnership perspective and doing it together, but also how we plan it, because, again, capital is obviously limited. So maybe just lessons learned, right? Cheap money is no reason to overbuild. Lucky we're not in that era anymore, so we can't really do that at the moment. Everybody is looking at CapEx. That's why also in South Africa over the last 12 months we have been seeing a drastic reduction in terms of infrastructure deployment. And unfortunately, many people that are employed by infrastructure builders have actually felt that, right, in their pocket. And that's the reality that we have seen in the last couple of months. Let's hope that we really, by combining our efforts and combining our resources, can do that better in the next year or two. Just maybe last on impact on infrastructure, we will definitely see a surge in terms of demand for power and data centers. There's many stats, many articles about it, but one but the reality of all the elements that we see at the top in terms of smart operations, how is a port going to operate in the next 10 years, right? If we think of Durban here as South Africans and how many issues we see from that, how many delays are there, etc. If I think of the Durban port in 10 years' time, I hope that artificial intelligence, automation, and therefore edge solutions are really the golden standard and therefore optimize the efficiency of such operations. Thank you very much. I leave it open to questions at the end. Thank you. No questions, no remarks. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Philip.